rocpodcasts.com.
AirWreckRadio.
Oh, it's so awful. You're going to love it.
Well, here they come again. They heard that things were happening. With mics in front of faces, their lips begin a flapping. They talk about world and local news reports, and even Steph Nichols, cause she's a doggy whore. Cory says, man, it's a goddamn joke. Corruption is abundant and the POTUS is a hoax. Stacy says, man,
I'd like to act, but Americans are lazier than most, that's fact.
so go get a bowl, a spoon, and some cereal, and sit your ass down. It's time for AirWreck Radio.
Sixth day. Oh, January.
January.
2013.
The 2014, Cory.
Oh, Jesus.
2014.
I fucked it up already, but that's...
Luckily,
It's the only one we're doing.
no one will be around to hear it.
Do you think there'll be any survivors?
I hope so, but I don't know. In Sydney, Australia, it's 67 degrees right now. 67 degrees right now
Are they
in
in a polar
Australia.
vortex too? You channeled David there for a minute too, by the way. It's falling apart. Are they in a polar vortex Tuesdays?
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
They're in summer. Those dicks.
And guess what? We're in winter.
Brr, winter. It sucks balls.
Something
Shriveled up, hidden balls.
Something about the arc of the sun and the heating of the earth. I don't know.
Cold
Yeah,
outside.
that's what happens. And then the wind blows, and then it comes down from the north. Those fuckers in Canada are always sending the cold air.
They've got a weather machine up there.
This time it was the fucking Eskimos.
The Inuit?
The Inuit. Well, I heard Eskimos racist, but they call themselves Eskimos. So is it the same thing?
I don't know. It's probably
Is
like,
it the E word? Do the white people up there walk around saying the E word?
what up, my Inuit? What'd you call me, bro? Oh,
So it's
nothing. Anna.
we're starting the year off right with the first podcast of 2014.
And it's cold as balls out.
it's COLD-MAGEDDON. Everybody's gonna die. Are you gonna die? We're gonna die. Everybody's gonna die.
The news is having a hoot and holler over this one.
That's because it's the news.
Yeah,
Where do you get your news from?
the internet.
Okay, where do most people get their news from?
I don't know anymore.
The television.
Oh,
Okay, and what is that thing that TV shows care about in order to stay on the air?
ratings.
Ratings. It's not giving you the factual information in any way that it needs to be delivered. Are you telling me that they might purposely inflate the importance of events in order to pump their ratings?
Oh, the weather report sells news. People tune in for weather and traffic.
Okay, so it's the only reason to watch.
Though I can't
Your
believe
local
anybody
news.
does anymore, because, like, honestly, you have a million apps for that.
People do still like to be told the news.
I guess the
It
difference
is comfortable having a guy tell you, or a girl.
the guy
tell
tells you, bundle up. It's going to be frigid. You thought I was going to swear, but I didn't.
Good job with your attempted FCC compliance.
Yes, I did it. I'm pretty sure we've already sworn several times,
Well, I'm
but
sure I've dropped at least one F-bomb and said the C1.
whatever. It's cold.
Man, did I just want to say that. Man, did I just want to say that.
Our wits are addled about the cold. The weather guy says,
I'm so annoyed with this.
Stay inside.
Okay, I was planning on that anyway.
Lock your windows. Hide your kids. Hide your wife. They freezing everybody in here. It's bad business in America town.
Oh, God, you got to do your best to find that. Find the video so we can play it during the show. Like, I get North Carolina is in trouble. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get that, like...
Why are they in trouble?
They're in the...
Are they cold, too?
Yes. They're not us cold, but they're way too cold and snowy that they're not capable of handling.
Yeah.
They just don't have the infrastructure to get it done.
That sucks.
They're in trouble. They have problems.
Yeah.
We're from Rochester.
I'm going to work tomorrow.
We have a winter coat and four-wheel drives. There's salt here.
I have a Pontiac Grand Am right now, so I don't know. You speak for yourself.
You have a front-wheel drive, and you know how to drive in the snow.
I'm a professional driver, actually.
Oh, really? They pay you to drive?
They used to. They don't anymore, but I could do that again.
The difference is that you're technically not supposed to speed in that. Not that it's an option, but you're technically not supposed to speed in the delivery forms that you did.
Oh, Pishaw.
Pishaw.
Not supposed
Fuck them
to
and their silly laws. I'll speed all I want.
Not all I want.
When did I turn you into a cartoon millionaire?
Actually, maybe all I want. I do kind of treat speeding like a cartoon millionaire, though, because, like, I don't care. I mean...
Oh, Pishaw.
I'm a fairly responsible speeder. I think. I guess that's kind of a... I'm a little biased, for sure.
I'm a responsible speeder.
I am a responsible speeder. I don't go 100 miles an hour when it's not safe to go 100 miles an hour.
I'm an upstanding citizen of this correctional facility population.
Yeah. I'm the innocent one. All those other guys, they did it.
You'll never meet so many innocent men as if you walked into a prison. I tell you what. Nobody there did anything. It's amazing. So, how do you solve your problems with the cold? Because I know how I solve my problems with the cold.
I drink whiskey. And and when I can't drink whiskey, I drink coffee. And at the end of the day, my liver doesn't know what the fuck to do.
Shots of whiskey and cheap beer.
Yeah.
I am fucking in.
Yeah, we're swearing again, Cory.
I said him. Damn it.
We need a swear jar.
We need a bell or something.
Ding.
Dump. Can we get a dump button?
76 degrees in Australia today.
So your dear friends here at AirWreckRadio are broadcasting to you from our usual.
Oh, we got to do. Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to get back to that.
Only because I'm going to use it as a segue into something else.
Oh, terrific!
Yes,
I'm belted in with my bowl, spoon, and cereal.
As we, good boy. See, you got to pull it all around.
I did.
So you got to just laying them up and knocking them down.
That's right.
We are broadcasting from the Hideaway Brewery Studios. Fake radio doing fake reads for real beer and whiskey. Again, I don't like to drink the liquor during the AirWreck Radio. I like to keep it to the beer.
Luckily, we'll all be
AirWreck Radio in a row that I drink liquor during AirWreck Radio.
Luckily, we'll all be frozen and dead by the time this show's over. So,
I'll be happy though because I'll be drunk on whiskey. Nice warm in my head.
You can also find AirWreck Radio on rocpodcast.com. Our brothers in podcasting, host to many other terrific podcasts. You should check them out.
Many, many great podcasts. So many, in fact, that I cannot listen to them all the time.
No.
There are a handful that I listen to every week, and I try to at least catch an episode from everybody who puts out episodes regularly from here and there. There's nothing you can't find. There's no interest that you're not going to find on rocpodcast.com. And you know what? I got to tell you, if you don't find a podcast that interests you on rocpodcast.com,
you're a picky bitch.
You should probably think about making a podcast about the things that you're interested in, because we'd love to hear what you got.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Also, we'd love to cross-promote with you. So, start your own podcast.
Make a podcast. It's not that hard. You know what? I'll teach you. I'll show you how to do the basics, and then you can figure it out from yourself from there on.
But before you do that, listen to our podcast. And before you can listen to our podcast, we should probably start it proper.
Well, we sort of already did.
You're right.
Cold It's cold in North Carolina. Oh, it's cold in Nashville, too.
Yeah.
Guess what I'm using the Nashville segue for?
Oh. What, Cory?
AirWreckRadio is going out.
Woo.
We is going to party hardy on a Friday night. The 24th day of this month, January. Our dear friends. Dear friends. And I know they're dear. I've seen the antlers.
I have also seen the antlers.
Revolution Theory.
Ooh. You might remember Revolution Theory from their fame on AirWreckRadio. They were our second guest ever.
Good friends of the show.
Very good friends of the show. Ken Nobles gave us
Ken Bass Playa.
Ken Dog Bass Playa. Signs his text messages like that, and I think that's just terrific.
By terrific, you mean slightly douchey?
No, I love it. I actually love that.
I love you, Ken. I'm just joking.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah, buddy. But they're going to rock the fucking house at the big room down at Nashville.
Ooh, Nashville's on West Henrietta Road.
Yes, that's the one.
Nashville's used to be, for those of you who don't know, it used to be the Roost, and now it's under new ownership
and management and all that. It is it shares a building with the Days Inn.
Yes, so if you get
West
too
Henrietta
drunk,
Road.
You can crash at the Days Inn.
Brilliant plan.
Probably stupid cheap, I'm sure.
Brilliant plan. Oh, stupid cheap. There's truck stop.
Yeah.
Brilliant plan.
And while you're there seeing Revolution Theory,
guess who else is going to be there?
Your boys from AirWreckRadio.
And all of their friends and family and get-togethers.
That's right.
So we need you, the loyal Wreckheads, to get out, spread the word, tell your friends, we're going to rock and roll with Revolution Theory, January 24th, at the Roost, AirWreckRadio style. And by that I mean drunk.
Correction. We are not going to be at the Roost. The Roost is gone.
Oh, Nashville. That's right. I'm sorry. But I'm standing by the AirWreckRadio style.
Yes.
Drunk. I'm
standing by that. I mean, there's a hotel right there. We can crash in. And nobody has to drive drunk.
Make a podcast from a hotel. It'd be amazing.
It sounds like a fun time to me.
Like a fun time. As long as neither one of us have our pants on, it's guaranteed to be a fun time. No? Yes? Me? No?
Well, about that.
Anyways. All this talking about podcasting.
Podcasts are fun.
Podcasts are fun. You know why podcasts are fun?
Because I'm on them.
That's why. Good job. You're a smart guy. Because it's anything you wish it to be.
Yeah.
It's anything you wish it to be. Because there is no format. There's no frame. There's no archetype. There's no plan for doing this. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing or what the fuck's going to sell, if it's ever going to sell. Nobody knows any of it.
Yeah, sell.
It is a wild frontier of free-range chickens. It's just a big open field with a bunch of chickens running around pecking and just dying to be organized.
Oh, I feel there is a joke in there.
I'm sure there is, but it's outside of my capabilities.
Man, I'm gonna work on that or not.
So I killed my second podcast, but because podcasts are so fun, I still have a second podcast.
Wait, you killed Sports Rec?
Yes, I killed it dead with a bullet.
For everybody who is not up to date on things, we've talked about this already on this show, but let's just take it back a little ways. Cory had Sports Rec.
Yes.
Sports Rec, turns out, was a sports wreck.
Yep. It's about the long and short of it.
I'll let you tell the story if you want, or I can.
No, you got about the long and short of it. It got to the last episodes where either I didn't want to do it, or we didn't spend the episodes talking about anything to do with sports.
It got a little tedious for you, I think. You have to do an assload of research to make a sports show.
You do.
Yeah.
And I was going for a different feel. I wasn't going for a facts and figures, numbers, hardcore sports guy show. I was going for a more lighthearted, big picture kind of conversational, two guys talking about sports kind of show. But it wasn't working out for me.
Is it because I killed the NFL on this show?
No.
That you could no longer bring yourself to care about
it might have something to do
the robber barons that are fucking...
But like the whole time that I had Sports Rec, I never made a logo for it. I literally took AirWreckRadio's logo and put a laminate over it with a football going through the logo.
That was a particularly shoddy attempt at a logo.
And that's what I rocked. I never made a single piece of production. There's no promos for Sports Rec. There wasn't an intro. I mean, the intro song was horrible. I mean, I literally threw together 15 seconds before we started the first episode.
I think you may have done more content for Sports Rec on AirWreckRadio than you actually did for Sports Rec.
I'm pretty sure that I have, yeah. So, fuck it. I'm done. We're not doing that. We're just going to fucking... Bill's an interesting guy. Coach Buck, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah,
He's an
whatever.
interesting guy. He's got stories to tell. He's got opinions. And a lot of time we don't agree. Well, sometimes it makes for good conversation sometimes.
Yes.
I like...
So what are you doing now, then? There's a new show, right?
There's a new show.
Ooh.
And that show is called The Podcast.
It's called what?
A podcast.
A podcast.
Yes.
A little piece of friendly criticism. I think you should call it a podcast specifically.
I should add
A, not no.
A podcast.
A, not a podcast. A podcast.
Well, the reason why I go with a podcast...
It's more proper nouny.
Well, the reason why I go with a podcast is because it adds to the Abbott and Costello joke we have going here.
Oh,
what are you doing? A podcast. What's a podcast? Well, that's the name of the show. What's the name of your show? A podcast. There's a little... There.
Yes, I definitely see it.
Yeah.
Thank you for clearing that up for me.
That's why I wanted to keep that around.
Okay.
Fun.
I didn't see that before, but now I definitely...
It's fun, though. We'll add a little joke there, a little content, a little humor.
I feel like in post, you should put Amazing Grace behind this piece of the show. Because, brother, I was blind to that, and now I see. Yeah, I'm aware of why you go podcast, but I like that it's _A_podcast
You
on
know
Facebook.
why that happened?
I believe you told me, but like most people who talk to me, I immediately forget what you said. That's why I record with you, so that I can remember what I said.
_podcast for two reasons. One, there's no such thing as a URL with a space in it. And two, there's a bunch of troll creepers that already have a podcast on the Twitters and the Facebook and shit.
I would like to correct you. There are a bunch of other troll creepers who already have a podcast.
But there was not one in iTunes or Stitcher.
Hooray!
So
that's the best places to be.
Bitches.
Well, except that Stitcher sucks and iTunes will steal your soul. But it works really well.
So guess what, bitches?
What?
A podcast. The podcast. A podcast that's just about a podcast.
I love this idea terrifically. It's like a reality show for podcasting. It's like Inception.
Podcasters love talking about how hard podcasting is.
I listened to the Death of AirWreck episode, and I thought that you
Sports Rec. We haven't killed AirWreck yet.
I'm sorry. Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
I listened to the Death of Sports Rec podcast, and you guys seem to banter very well together. I never ever listened to a single whole episode of Sports Rec. I'm sorry. Sports are not my bag.
That's all right.
But you guys banter together well. I enjoyed it. And I think that if you enjoy this show, you're going to enjoy that show too.
It's our show. I feel that our show, AirWreck, is a little more fact-based. We do a little bit of research. We're interested in the news. We talk about interesting topics that are pertinent and important.
Yeah.
Where a podcast really is going to be a lot more conjecture and conversation, no bullshit.
Are you going to do the alphabetical order topics thing? Because I think that's a terrific idea.
I think I am, actually.
I actually think that that's a very good idea.
To explain people, the example of that would be starting next week, let's say we pick, we'll throw a dart at a board with the alphabet on it and pick N. Whatever.
Oh, I think you should go in order.
Start at A, whatever. But you pick a subject and you
had to pick N.
Yeah.
And what would you be talking about on the N show?
Those filthy, disgusting, cheating, lying, no good nutmeg salesmen.
That was nutmeg.
No good for you.
Over here selling their nutmeg. I see what's going on. I see the writing on the wall. See?
Put your nuts away, Meg. Why is Meg's nuts out? Because it's a fucking party, that's why.
If I had a parachute.
But so you started beginning, you say, hey, so first episode's about
a podcast.
A podcast.
I think you already did A.
Yeah, well, actually. Next episode's B, so you do brothels. Whatever. C's cookies. We're doing cookies, the circus, whatever. And you just pick a subject that starts with a letter and you work your way down.
Oh, I want to do the circus right now, actually.
All right, let's do the circus.
No.
C to you. So when are you coming on my new show?
As soon as you want me to.
All right, cool. Well, let's pack this up and go.
All right.
Go find Bill and do that show.
Folks, you've gotten to your first ending a lot later, actually. Usually we're with this show right after we introduce this show, but this week we made it a solid several minutes in.
Yeah, before we're like, fuck
before
this,
we were like, you know what, that's the show. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Wah.
Yeah. So I listened to another podcast on the ROC podcast while we're talking about it.
Let's get down.
Or am I walking over you?
No, you're good.
Okay. I listened to the Sound of Tomorrow podcast today, which I
also listened to them today.
I have referred to that podcast before as, I think, delightfully retarded.
Oh, I don't know that you have. I could see those words coming out of your mouth.
I definitely called it retarded, but I meant it in a nice way, and I was very clear then that I meant it it was creative.
They're too pleasant and friendly to not like.
The one show that we had talked about before was in Pretend Land. They had put on this Theater of the Mind show. This week I listened to their show, and it was just topical. They were just talking about what their favorite things of 2013 were. And it was a delightful little conversation.
Their list show. Yeah.
I really enjoyed the conversation they had. I emailed Ross. Because he said that he had a joke that was dirty.
Oh, you're giving the dirty joke, are you?
It was too dirty for
their podcast.
For their show. So I emailed them politely asking them to share their joke. And
they're like the Donnie and Marie of podcasts.
I thought I didn't want to just demand that he give me his joke, so I offered him his choice of 3 jokes, and I wrote all 3 jokes in the email for him to take his choice. Would you like to hear the jokes, Cory?
Oh, no, I don't
Too
want to
bad,
hear the
Cory.
jokes at all.
That's unfortunate.
Oh, God.
Cory.
What
kind of relationship did Mary and Joseph have?
Turbulent one, I'd imagine. If I found out my virgin wife was pregnant, I'd probably be pissed.
Incorrect. A stable one.
Oh!
In a stable.
In a manger.
What did the fish who ran into a concrete wall say? Damn.
Blurp. Blurp.
When I heard that joke, that's
Blurp.
what I thought, too. I was like, bloop. Nope, he said damn, because that's what he ran into.
Into a damn, yeah.
See, I want to make sure everybody gets it. I don't want anybody to be left out.
Yeah, no, you got the best jokes are the kind you have to explain.
Sure.
People do not understand.
I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. Why did Santa have a hard time selling Donner and Blitzen?
Because they were stolen. They're hot reindeer. They scratched the VIN numbers off.
That doesn't really, that's not witty at all, but I like it anyway. We'll go with that. Because they were too dear, Cory. They were too dear to sell. You can't.
It's too dear.
Too dear. It's a play on words, like a dear friend.
Yeah,
you of all people should appreciate how disgusting that joke is.
It has a dear place in my heart.
Oh, it's so fucking awful. You're gonna love it.
Blind man, or what did the bald man say when he got a comb for Christmas?
I don't know.
I'll never part with this.
That's terrific.
Yeah,
that's very good. Very good, Cory.
Since we're doing simple wordplay jokes.
I like that. I like that one, Cory.
Well, Stace, feel free to take it. You know what? I'll sell it to you. You can have that joke.
I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I will steal your content without your express written permission.
Oh, well, it's good. That's probably why we work so well, because not only will I've proven that I can do it.
Done.
And do it pretty effectively as well.
Welcome to AirWreckRadio, the show where at least 15 minutes of our hour and a half show is going to be stolen audio from one of our partner podcasts. That said, let's play some stolen audio from one of our partner podcasts who is coming on the show sometime in the near future. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Not the comic book podcast, and not the podcast we were just talking about.
No.
Another fun podcast that we both enjoy.
Fun podcast that we both have come to know and love. Beer in my lap.
Beer
that's
down.
Cold and it's wet. But I'm a professional.
You be a professional and wipe that shit up, and I will get us through this. The show that we are, of course, the show that we're talking about is the Mental Overload Show, hosted by Jay and Ace. They are a lot like our show in that they're somewhat topical, but boy, are they all over the place. It is entertaining to listen to.
They are definitely unabashed. Unabashed is a good word to use.
They guarantee something like 3 laughs an episode, but I guarantee at least 6 cringes an episode on that show. I love it. I love that they are not afraid to use profane language. And this week on the show, they went so far as to give permission. They said something that came out wrong.
I don't feel that it was permission, as I felt it was a dare.
It was. They were like, there's a soundbite in that. So,
guess what?
Your friendly neighborhood AirWreckRadio dickheads decided to mix up
there's a soundbite in
their
there.
little audio, and here you go.
First, the clip that they begged me to pull.
I like how this is not working
I know.
at all.
I like the big balls of yo.
Do we need to hear that again? This is the one they asked me to pull.
I like the big balls of yo.
Now, what they were talking about...
that's not the purpose of soundbites. Soundbites don't come in context.
I liked the topic. They were talking about how they make ramen noodles and dress them up.
With a nice poached egg.
And Jay had said how he liked the whole yolk, and Ace says that he likes it to be scrambled up. You know, you drop it and stir it around. You got to break the yolk. I'm with Jay on the big balls of yolk thing.
I like the big balls of yolk.
He likes the big balls of yolk.
Yes, okay. And you're with him on that.
And they further went to say, once he realized that he'd said big balls of yolk and that was a hilarious thing to have said, he said, feel free to use this as a soundbite or something like that. So we did.
And then I started to feel just a little creative. So I pulled a couple of words out of the sentence that it was in, and I got this.
Fucking let them be free, son. I like the big balls of yolk, and it's fucking good. Fucking let them be free, son. I like the big balls of yolk, and it's fucking good.
Well, all those words happened in that sentence.
Yeah.
Not in that order, but in that sentence. And I said, that's fun. And then I got even just a step more creative since they dared me to pull this audio.
Well, at least granted permission to use the audio. At least said, this is funny audio. Use it.
Fucking let it be free, son. I like the big balls of yolk, and it's fucking good. Fucking let it be free, son. I like the big balls of yolk, and it's fucking good. Fucking let it be free, son. I like the big balls of yolk, and it's fucking good. Fucking let it be free, son. I like the big balls of yolk, and it's fucking good. I like the big balls of yolk, I like the big balls of yolk, I like the big fucking let it be free, son. I like the big balls of yolk, and it's fucking good. Fucking let it be free, son. I like the big balls of yolk, and it's fucking good. Fucking let it be free, son. I like the big balls of yolk, and it's fucking good. Fucking let it be free, son. I like the big balls of yolk.
Jay, when you get that Kanye money, you know you owe some of that to AirWreckRadio, right?
Now, boys, I want you to keep this as a cautionary tale. Do you see what I did with that soundbite? Now imagine what the guys over at The Average White Men could do with it.
Yeah, imagine what good podcasters could do with this kind of technology.
Exactly. I mean, my hacky retarded ass made that. Good podcasters with real professional equipment and, Pro Tools
and like experience and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Could turn out some real production gold out of that little clippy. What clippy?
I like the big balls of yolk.
That one.
That's terrific.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
I also occasionally like an egg dropped in my ramen noodles.
Do you like an egg in your ramen noodles?
Sometimes.
I don't mind it. I'm not.
I like fucking ramen noodles so much that like doctoring them seems a little like scandalous to me.
Then you're not gonna like my beef ramen noodle recipe.
You know what you do though? You take like a slice of American cheese and drop that shit in there.
I'm not for that.
It makes fucking sauce all cheesy, dude, because it melts right away. I mean, it's not chunky at all. It just melts right into the sauce. It's still fucking delicious. I swore again. Damn it.
The beef ramen, I like to make it with just the noodles. Like I boil it and drain the water out before I put the stuff in it.
Yeah.
And then I put a scoop of sour cream in that bad boy. And 2 drops of Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. Worcestershire.
Yes. Worcestershire sauce.
Can we just, like, as a species, agree
Kill
to call
word.
that something else, please?
Lean parents. All right, moving on. Problem solved. That's what we do here at AirWreckRadio. We solve your problems.
We solve your problems. That's right.
From now on, it's lean parents. Let's move on.
Would you like to move on?
Yes.
I have somewhere to take us.
We broke into ramen. Oh, because Jay and H brought us into ramen noodles.
Yeah, it's a captivating discussion.
It is, clearly, because they shared their recipe, and we both felt the need to share our little recipes for ramen noodles.
Well, hell yeah, man. You got to let the people know, man. That shit's not just like delicious soup in a bag.
These Daddy's ramen noodles.
Yeah.
What, you got something other than that?
I don't know.
I got nothing.
I don't know.
I'm out of steam here. I did an auto-tune song. I'm out of steam, dude. I don't know.
While we're on the topic of podcasting, for anybody who uses the Stitcher app to listen to our show, you're aware, first off, of what a hopeless piece of shit the Stitcher app is. And also that Stitcher comes with a news feed that's attached to the show. And I listen to the news feed fairly often. And today we stole a piece of audio from one of the news feeds because I hated this story. This is a story about a DWI law that's been passed in Vancouver. The gist of this law, to give you the quick breakdown so you know what you're getting into here, if you're caught at .05 in Vancouver, the police...
What?
Yeah. The police... I know.
What number
hold
was
on.
that?
Hold on. Listen. We're going to listen to the soundbite. You're going to get to hear it from the whole 6-minute news story that we're going to cut some fluff out in the post. But here in the live...
6 minutes?
Well, you and I are going to listen to it, and we're going to cut it down a little bit to the topical things that we're going to talk about in it. But essentially...
Yes, Stacey, I can cut up your news story for you. You're welcome.
I know.
Right.
I know you can. I know you want to. I can tell.
I kind of do.
I would have done it myself, Corey, but my computer's broke.
I'm just picking on you.
Email it to me. I'll do it.
I like doing this.
I know. Basically, in Vancouver, if you're caught at a .05, your car will be impounded for 3 days, after which point you can get it back. Let's listen to the news story.
I wonder if the news story will answer my question.
Right off the cuff, listening to this news story.
Am I going to be mad, or what do you think I'm going to do here? What do you think I'm going to go with this?
I have no idea ever,
No?
And I dare not predict
Nobody
it because
does.
no matter what I predict, you'll do the other thing.
Because I could do that.
Yeah.
All right.
So I will predict that you will speak loudly and obscenely about whatever jackass view you have at the time.
I think we have a fair amount of swear words here. I think you swear the same amount of times I did. So screw it. All right, I have this labeled as DWI bitching.
Sure.
6 years ago, a terrible family tragedy occurred here in rural British Columbia. But over time, it became much more than that. This tragedy set in motion dramatic changes to the laws governing drinking and driving. Changes that supporters say have already saved dozens of lives.
Stop.
All right.
Now, right off the get-go, off the cuff here.
To the goes.
If we're going to talk legislation, news reporter, can we do it without the terrible family tragedy that inspired this? I mean, is it really relevant? I know that people are killed by drunk drivers. I know it, but people are killed by sober drivers, too. More people, in fact, are killed by sober drivers than are killed by drunk drivers. So let's not pretend that drunk driving is a death sentence.
I agree with you 110%, and I don't agree with the news using the the backs of the morning to build ratings. So I'm with you right up until this point. Unless it is absolutely provably true that death is what sparked the legislation. If that's what happened, it's part of the news story.
Let's continue the news story.
All right.
Tragedy involved a 4-year-old girl. Her name was Alexa Middlear.
Well, it was a beautiful May-long weekend, and my daughter Alexa loved this one particular horse, and she really wanted to show her
Named Alexis, looks like a Buick.
grandparents that horse. And so I remember saying goodbye to her, and then very shortly after that we heard all kinds of sirens, and at that moment I just knew. I said, it's Alexa. Something's happened to Alexa.
A 56-year-old woman doing nearly twice the speed limit lost control of her car and smashed into the exact spot where Alexa stood feeding the horse on the side of the road. The woman...
Oh, hold on. The exact spot this drunk driver was aiming for Alexa. Now,
dear God, I get your point.
It's terrible. It's terrible that a little girl died because of a drunk driver. But let's find out how drunk this driver was.
Can I ask a question before we get there?
Sure.
Why was this little girl on the side of the road? 6, right?
Well, she was feeding a horse. I mean,
on
the side of the road, she was like...
Listen, you live on a country road, dude. I mean, maybe yours is a little busier than an average country road because it's the spine, the cut-through spine.
I don't dare to like where you're going with this. I wouldn't question the... I don't want to... You can do what you like, but I do not really stand behind the questioning the parenting decision of letting your child feed a horse by the road.
If questioning decisions or not, the facts seem pretty evident that if this little girl was not standing on the side of the road, this little girl would still be standing.
Some little girls get the mail, and you don't know what by the side of the road was. I mean, I'm picturing a horse fence, which is usually 6, 8, 10 feet away from the road.
You know, you got a good point there too, because the wording of
by the road doesn't really say. I mean, it seems likely
because I was at the mailbox. That's where my thought was.
This woman could have just the offending car could have slid like just all over the shoulder, and it could have been a road like mine where there's really not so there's no give. So like you might hit somebody in their front yard if you give off the shoulder, or there might be a 20-foot shoulder. This might be
careening off
next to a busy highway. The news story doesn't say. Let's continue the news story.
Who was later convicted and sent to prison, admitted to police she'd had 3 glasses of wine before getting into her car.
3 glasses of wine.
I have 2 questions for that.
Okay.
What was the time frame in which you imbibed these 3 glasses of wine? Because listen, if I drink 3 glasses of wine, me personally, if I drink 3 glasses of wine in an hour, I'm going to feel the effects of alcohol, but I'm not going to be outside of my capabilities of operating a car.
I might be biased here. I will drink 3 bottles of wine and be just fine. I don't think that I would recommend that I drive after 3 bottles, but I'm saying after 3 glasses of wine in any reasonable amount of time.
See, for a lot of people who don't drink as heavily as both of us do.
I know, and
3 glasses of wine in a half an hour would be a buzz to be had.
I have a particularly strong tolerance for wine, and I understand that. So I'm not saying that like I'm just 3 glasses of wine.
And I'm not for or against you. I'm just looking at things as they come to me.
That's all I'm saying.
Let's just use your significant other. All right, and let's not factor in the fact that she lives with you and thus imbibes the amount of alcohol. If she didn't drink often and drank 3 glasses of wine in a half an hour, she'd be drunk.
Oh, sure.
She'd be drunk.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's fair enough. One drunk, potentially drunk person.
Yeah, okay.
When we knew roadside that our daughter was dead, I remember my husband just in the ambulance, we both held each other, and he said, "This will not break us. This will define us. There will be some good in this."
But the criminals. After the accident, Alexa's parents, Michael and Laurel, launched a campaign to try and change the culture around drinking and driving, to deter people from doing it. Their events became a regular feature on local news.
We will honor our daughter, and we will make the necessary changes. But number one...
But they soon realized it would take more than that. they realized they'd have to change the drunk driving laws, which, like in the U.S., set the legal blood alcohol limit at 0.08%. After lobbying the government for nearly a year alongside groups like Mothers Against Drunk Driving, their efforts paid off. In 2010, the provincial government not only stiffened penalties against driving at 0.08, but more importantly, it targeted drivers who fall below that level to 0.05, drivers who are not legally drunk.
Well, I would like to point out, at 0.05, that is any amount of alcohol.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is less than a full drink, which is 12 ounces of beer, 1 ounce of liquor, and 16 ounces
They called it 2 drinks for a man. 3 drinks for a man, 2 drinks for a woman.
No.
Is what they call it. That's what they call it.
Even here in New York State at 0.08, they tell you 1 per hour. That's your fucking limit.
Right. Unless, you happen to have a slow processing liver and you happen to get popped after you followed that speed limit of 1 drink per hour and you
There's variation
subsequently
based
lose
on
your
body
license
size,
anyway.
body fat.
Yeah. I'm going to give you the news story is really long, so I think that what we should do is at the end of the show we'll play the whole. If you're interested in hearing the whole news story, at the end of the show we'll play the whole news story. But right now I'm going to give you the gist of the rest of the story. At 0.05, the police will take your car. They'll remove you from the car. It's not really clear as to whether you're going to jail or going home that night in the article. So, listener, if you want to listen carefully and correct me, but I think that they just take you out of your car and take your car to impound, and you lose your car for 3 days.
And you're on your own. Have a good day, sir.
And I'm sure you pay a small fine to get your car out. You don't get a DWI, I think, according to this law.
See, now that kind of changes my opinion. The severity of the punishment changes my opinion on the levels of the law. If you're looking to discourage people from driving with any amount of alcohol in their system, I can't see where that's a bad thing to try to discourage. I'm not.
That's because you don't own a bar.
I don't, and I'm not saying that I'm going to make the choice to not.
Right.
I'm not saying that I'm going to make that choice.
I understand.
But I can see where, from a public safety perspective, trying to discourage alcohol use in driving is a good thing.
And I have a statistic.
If you're not going to go to jail and lose your job and your wife and your kids and pay $10,000 in fines, if you're out $300 for the storage fee of the car, the impound fee, and you had to call a cab to get home, I don't know that I'm so upset with it then.
All what you're saying is stuff I like, but this 0.05 is just
it is
silly.
too low.
How about we do that at 0.08? How about that's the penalty you pay? Instead of you go to jail, you potentially lose your job, you potentially lose your license, you pay thousands in attorney. I'm not against the things in this legislation. I'd like a quick. This story goes on to tell you that this has cut DWI deaths in half in Vancouver. Very effective. But does it really need to be 0.05? It has also cut profits at bars and restaurants in Vancouver 20%. I'll tell you something about restaurants. They can't afford a 20% hit.
That's what that's their maximum operating budget is 20% profit.
Yeah.
That's maximum operating budget.
My biggest beef with this is this intense personal attachment they try to sell you this with. A 4-year-old girl with a name got killed, and her parents sure do deserve your acknowledgement of that because they got this law enacted. But let's be real here.
And good for them for making a move. Maybe me and you disagree with the parameters of law, but good for them for standing up for what they think is right and making the move and making the waves to get the law. Good for the parents of the kids for doing what parents of the kids should do.
Right. All that is terrific. That's how government's supposed to work. But 0.05, can we just all be adults about DWI and I don't know. Isn't there a way that we could be adult about it and not cripple people financially and and just understand that sure, drunk drivers kill people, but so does sober drivers.
But again, like anything else, somewhere there's a person listening to this very podcast whose mother, brother, cousin, sister, daughter, job boss, whatever, was killed by a drunk driver.
Sure.
And they don't agree with you.
I don't think you have to be personally...
They're probably for zero tolerance. One drop of alcohol means you go to jail. And then nobody would drive drunk, which is not true. But that would be their...
And then everybody would be in jail or in
There'd be
debt
a lot of people in jail.
to the judicial system. We would all owe money.
Yeah, they could legalize marijuana and let all the potheads out because they make room for their fucking drunks.
I just feel like there's got to be a responsible line that we could draw and actually respect it and understand. I think 0.08 sucks, but it's a good place to start. 0.05, Jesus Christ.
It's not unfair.
Don't go to church. Don't take your communion. That shit'll get you a DWI. You'll lose your car for 3 days.
Dude. I mean, NyQuil would probably be pushing it.
Well, honestly, don't ever take NyQuil and try to drive anywhere.
Well, it's not like they got the codeine NyQuil like they used to. The new NyQuil isn't like what it used to be.
Yo, NyQuil still works for me, man.
Shit used to have codeine in it, motherfucker. That shit was on the heroin.
I wouldn't go so far as to say I recreationally take NyQuil.
But I might.
But I would go so far as to say sometimes motherfucker just wants to go to sleep, man.
I wouldn't go far as saying that I take it recreationally, but sometimes a motherfucker just wants to get fucked up.
I don't know how recreational napping actually is, but
I'm thinking napping outside of your 8-hour cycle is absolutely recreational. That is truly a choice of leisure.
Fair enough. I don't know. I heard on the Carlin show that's actually a good idea. 20-minute nap in the middle of the day.
20 minutes is actually the perfect number.
Not for me.
That's what studies have shown. The 20 minutes is the perfect power nap. Any less, you don't get any real refreshment. Any more, you wake up groggy.
I can't nap, dude. I cannot do it.
I've never been a napper.
I have nightmares when I sleep during the day, which is really confusing to me why that would happen, but it never fails. And I always
the unfamiliar. You sleep during the day, which is unfamiliar because you work. So when you do sleep during the day, it just sets into you're uncomfortable. The lights are on. You're on the couch probably.
I fall asleep in my car on lunch sometime, nightmares, and then I wake up and I'm super fucking groggy. I hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
Before we put anybody to sleep, do you think it's break time?
Sure. It's close enough, I guess.
I like how you said that with absolutely minimal confidence whatsoever.
Well, I guess what you prophesized at the beginning of the show is true. We were just going to do about 15 minutes of our original content, and the rest of it was just going to be stolen bullshit.
Yep. Welcome to AirWreckRadio.
Yeah, I guess I could pee again. Oh, God. I'm going to go outside and hang my wang.
Oh, my God. It's going to freeze off, Corey. Don't do that.
In the subthermal... What's the word I'm looking for here?
It's that thing
cold. I almost did it.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Freaking cold.
Frigid cold. It's wicked cold out there.
I'm tired of these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane.
Shut the front door. But before you do, let's encourage friends and listeners. Please check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/AirWreckRadio. Check out Corey's new show, A Podcast,
facebook.com/A Podcast, the podcast.
Ooh, I like it.
Yes.
Check us out. Check out us and all of our friends at ROC Podcast. Check us out on Twitter, AWR Stace Ghost. And
both our shows are available on iTunes, Stitcher, rocpodcast.com, and airwreckradio.com.
Very, very lovely. We will see you on the other side of the break. You're going to hear from some of our fellow ROC podcasters, Wonder of Wonders.
Maybe not. Maybe fuck them.
Oh, come on. Not fuck them.
Well, maybe fuck them, but like in a real pleasant kind of...
Oh, all right. I see. Maybe lube them up and then fuck them. Got it.
Pleasant.
When we come back, headline news, huh?
Yeah.
Woo!
Greetings, Earth scum. It is I, Dr. P, commander of the Lost Cosmonauts podcast. Listen up. I'm using my superior intellect to hack the planet and tell you about a brand new conglomerate of podcasters from the Rochester, New York area. RockPodcast.com. That's right, RockPodcast.com. They have a huge assortment of free podcasts on the local sauce. You like comedy? They've got that. You like sports talk? They fucking got that shit too. You like family-friendly, safe for your grandma and grandpa howdy-doody type shows? Oh, they got a whole lot of that. They also keep our shit on file. So go on over to rockpodcast.com, subscribe, listen, become a better person. Watchtower out.
Hey everybody, welcome back to AirWreckRadio. We hope you enjoyed those lovely words from some of our co-podcasters. At the ROC Podcast affiliate group.
I cannot wait for the podcast orgy. Oh, that's not what they're called.
That's going to be a sausage fest, actually. I think that I will skip that event.
Yeah. Duh. There weren't even girls invited.
Pretty sure I will go somewhere else that night.
I'm pretty sure there's like one girl, 2 girls on all of ROC podcasts.
That's not true. Wait, the 2 that are on our show frequently?
No,
or
not
another
counting
2?
our show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we actually double the amount of females present.
The only ones I can think of on ROC podcasts are Heather and Casey. Heather's from Sound of Tomorrow, and Casey is from Geek Out Radio.
I've only listened to a few episodes of Geek Out Radio.
Geek Out Radio. I mean, they've only got a couple episodes. They only have like 16, 17 episodes, something like that. But they're great.
The one episode that I listened to, they talked about a Game of Thrones, and their opening music was like 8-bit Nintendo music.
Yeah, that's their opening music.
But they used the Game of Thrones music.
Yeah.
Oh, do they do that every week?
No, but they do.
They used it for that.
They do some kind of variation.
Oh, I thought that was super cool. That definitely gave me a geek boner.
Like sometimes they do a lot of TV talk, and I don't watch a lot of TV. But they're good. The host and his crew all have good chemistry. It's good sound quality. They put a lot of care into their production, their intro and their outro.
Yes,
I like that show. I
like that show too. It doesn't get enough coverage on the ROC Podcast Stitcher feed
because I don't think they're frequent enough.
Yeah, I think that's the problem.
I don't think they're every week, and the people that are every week, like us and Mental Overload and Shoot to Thrill, are going to take up those rotations.
I'm going to find something else to use someday other than Stitcher, and I'm going to get everybody onto it, and it's going to be functional as shit, so I can stop bitching about Stitcher.
Oh, maybe you just came up with your own $1 million idea, pal.
Yeah, I have the wherewithal to implement that.
Oh, well,
right.
You don't. But the next step is finding the people that do. You got
Cory,
the idea.
Cory, you want to do that?
I could learn to build an app.
We'll get on it.
I could.
I heard it's $1 million idea. I heard that. Somebody told me that recently.
There's your $1 million idea. A real competing application or software for iTunes podcasting. A real competitor.
Yeah.
Because there isn't one.
No.
There is not a real for podcast. There's not. iTunes is the man.
Yeah. Which sucks.
Yeah. Considering that Apple literally is the man. Or at least they're owned by the man.
Well, at least the man has access to them.
And their backdoors. Ooh.
Weird.
Sexy.
So this week, this week's show has featured the longest on the pod ever.
I don't know.
Ever. It's like the second or third time we've done it on the pod, and it wasn't even official, but we haven't stopped talking about other podcasts. It turns out that there wasn't a whole bunch of time to get news because it was like the New Year's thing, and everybody's busy.
There was a bunch of news this week.
There was. And
we've got a bunch of shit to do still.
I know, and I think it's time we got to that. Folks, it's time for Headline News.
Headline News.
This week in Headline News, a plane crashed in Aspen today. Let's lead off strong with that one.
Not today.
Wasn't it today?
No, this happened several days ago.
I heard about it today. Good news, even if it was today, by the time anybody's listening, it'll be Wednesday. And
it'll be really old.
Whatever. Sometimes.
By today, do you mean when I said, hey, we should cover the Aspen plane crash?
Yes.
Is that when you heard about it for the first time?
No, I heard about it on the Stitcher newsfeed, actually.
Ooh.
Damn it, we're back to On the Pod. An airplane crashed in Aspen. Not a terrifically interesting story, except for the fact that Taylor Swift and some comedian both tweeted about it because they happened to be at Aspen.
The Intel-powered 2-in-1. The new guy got it for spilling coffee on his old computer. A tablet and laptop in one? You've been asking for a new computer for years. Are you going to watch things happen? Or make...
Muting it.
Good.
That should work. That'll work for a moment. Can you still hear it?
Are you sure? I can't hear it, but are you sure that, like, we can still be heard?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No, I muted the screen here.
What exactly is that?
It was an ad for a computer that I don't want to buy.
What were you doing, a news story?
I had to look up the news story. I closed the window and I just pulled up another window.
Oh, all right.
Look up the news story again.
So are we good to move on?
Yes.
Oh, you look like you were buying time.
Oh no, we're good. Okay.
Back paddling as you were.
Where were we? Before
a plane crashed in Aspen.
Oh yes, and there were famous people to watch it.
And I think that's why this is in the news.
The reason why we're covering it is because we cannot let an airplane crash go. We can't do it.
Kind of goes with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is AirWreckRadio. We apologize. We're going down. You understand there's a plane gag there.
Yeah. There's a theme.
Our image is a plane nose down.
Yeah, there's a theme here.
So a plane crashed and we had to talk about it. Now, all levity aside, somebody died.
Yeah, there's a one-man death.
And 2 people are in they're in condition.
Care. Yeah, they're in what's the word?
Hopefully okay.
Guarded condition.
That's probably okay, I hope.
The picture to be painted is plane is coming north to Colorado. Comes to make its landing, catches a wicked tailwind, gets pushed a little quicker than they wanted to be. Said, "We're not doing that. We're aborting the landing, and we're going to swing around and do it again." All recorded on the watchtower intercom. What's the word I'm looking for here? I can't come up with it. Air traffic control, radio communications.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
The watchtower intercom.
Very nice.
Whatever.
Watchtower here. Bring your laundry down.
So they spin around. They go. They get us outside.
Well,
of
they didn't
range.
spin around. They made a control turn to make a second pass.
They got outside the range. By the time they come back into range to come into the pass, they're fully engulfed in flames.
Yeah. Bizarre.
Still not exactly sure what happened.
Aspen is a difficult runway to land at, but
that has nothing to do with what happened.
Not really involved in why they're engulfed in flames.
Like, it happened that they had to try again, but that, trying again doesn't usually mean burst into flames.
So as of Monday, the 6th day of January, there's very little information about why this plane burst into flames.
But set down by the crew in the most orderly way possible.
How many people were on the plane, do you know? It wasn't just 3.
No, it was 67 plus crew.
Well, that is that's a pretty good percentage.
And the person most desperately injured was the pilot himself.
Who died?
No, not the one who died.
Then he was not the most desperately injured.
Of the survivors.
Okay.
He's the most injured. Yeah, the pilot whose identity has not been released.
Yeah, it's always rough on the pilots when they crash because, they're kind of in the front.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's
downward gravity. And,
yeah.
Things fall.
So that's that. I think
that. Yeah, it's not a lot of jokes here when a plane's falling in the sky.
It's just something we have to. We're obligated to cover that story.
Yeah, and famous people saw it, and they probably won't sleep well at night. And so they'll have to go to their doctors and get pills, and then they'll take too many of their pills, and they'll have nightmares, and then they'll have to go to a shrink. And
oh my God!
To write it down.
That reminds me.
Right.
I started watching.
See how that segue? See how I'm a fucking professional.
No, this isn't a segue.
Layer.
This is actually a tangent.
I segued you into tangenting. It's great.
You were talking about how they're going to take too many pills and blah 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 and have to see a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Well, I started watching this great show called Dexter. Have you ever heard of Dexter?
Okay. Everybody's heard of fucking Dexter. I watched the first half a season of it when it first came out.
Yeah.
On Showtime. I watched them as they came out live air. The first half a season, and I lost Showtime. I couldn't afford it anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
Now that the series has ended.
Yeah.
Now I've got to start watching Dexter.
It's good.
It's the same thing happened to me with Breaking Bad. As I was like, yeah, I know, but I don't really watch TV. I know everyone says it's great, but I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
And then it ended, and everyone was like, this is the best television show that has ever existed.
I would have never made it through Dexter week to week. For the same reason I did. For the same reason you didn't. That's why I don't watch True Blood anymore. I got rid of cable. Fuck that noise.
Fuck that.
I swore again.
Yeah, me too. I
Throw
followed you.
Penny in the jar.
Yeah. Ding, ding.
Anyway, Dexter's awesome. Watch it.
Yeah, I totally am into catching up on that. I don't know why I got to watch series after they end, and then people say that they were amazing.
And I'm like, it's better that way. Because if everybody's like, that was a fucking waste of time. Ding. That was a gosh darn waste of time. Like Lost. Half the people said it was a waste of time, and
yeah, well,
man, I just,
so I didn't bother wasting my time.
All they had to do was make a slightly different last episode. But whatever, that's Lost. That's TV. This is headline news. It's time to get serious.
Well, I have Sirius. It's really expensive. That's why it's not going to work.
Satellite radio?
Yeah, that was that.
Of course it's not going to work. There's fine entertainment like this available for free. Why would you pay for good entertainment when you can have mediocre entertainment for free? New York.
Oh, okay. Am I supposed to be playing Frank Sinatra song here?
They've done something about medical marijuana.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You know what? I talked...
Not to our listeners.
I know, and that's a disservice to them.
And I don't know anything about this, so you'd actually be filling me in.
I would like to preface this whole thing
with the fact that you are not interested in making headline news. You would rather just talk about serious satellite radio.
I have been a pro-legalized marijuana advocate for decades at this point.
Okay.
This is the least important fucking thing going on in this speech. It really is.
What speech?
Ding.
What speech?
Penny in the jar. The state of the state of the state of the union of the state of the address. The thing where the guy gets up and he talks about the place.
I don't know the reference. I don't know where this story came out of, and I don't think I'm alone in that. Is this a real thing, or is it just part of the state? The state address.
I'm working on telling the story.
Okay.
Out of the state address, this is the least important thing that needs to be covered. However, Cuomo will be announcing, not introducing, not planning to kick off, announcing that he is pulling executive
privilege, whatever
it is in the state. I don't know what it is in the state.
Probably executive privilege. He is an executive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we're skipping the state legislator, and we're going directly to do not pass fucking go. He is going to legalize medical marijuana in an extremely limited fashion. It's not going to be the same.
Oh, my God. I have just had $1 million idea.
That happens.
May I step on you?
Feel free. It's kinky. I kind of like it.
So... You know how you see those gun bumper stickers that are like two AR-15s making an F and a K to tell Governor Cuomo something that is completely...
Frigid Cuomo!
Yeah. I think those bumper stickers are completely inappropriate. But
yeah.
You can think what you want about gun control. You don't need to be obscene out in the public view, dick. You're being dicks.
In written format.
Isn't there some more intelligent argument?
It's one thing to
than
say
fuck
it.
Cuomo. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to ring the bell on that one. That's what that says, and everybody sees it every day. It's stupid. It's obscene and unnecessary to say fuck Cuomo. But my $1 million idea.
Yeah, where is that?
Pot leaves look kind of like W's. There's got to be some kind of like weed thing we can like weed Cuomo or something. You know, a bumper sticker incorporating the W You could turn it upside down and have it be like an upside down pot leaf chromo. It could be the W in chromo.
These are the
M.
two guys that could get that done. Do you understand that you're pitching the idea to people that could just do that?
Somebody out there do that quick. It's a really good idea. Copyright AirWreckRadio.
Yeah, both of us could get that done pretty effectively, I'm sure.
I'm sorry. In the State of the State address.
In the State of the State of the Union of the State of the address of the place, he's going to pull legislative privilege, or executive privilege, past the state legislator that has repeatedly turned down the medical marijuana bills to legalize medical marijuana in a very limited fashion. There will be 20 hand-picked hospitals.
Hand-picked.
By the governor himself. That will be legal dispensaries of medical marijuana, and they will. It is only for. This is suspect now, because remember he hasn't done this yet. This is suspect now as far as what the restrictions will be, but only for major, long-term terminal illnesses. It's only for cancer, glaucoma, no backaches, headaches. My knee hurts. My ass hurts. I have diarrhea.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
The California drug laws. Literally, you can get medical marijuana for any fucking ailment.
I really like Doritos, man.
Yeah, that's...
But I only like them when I'm stoned, man. So, I think I have a medical condition.
Exactly.
Dude.
Man. Now, this is what they're trying to avoid in New York, is that we're not California with the hippies running wild on the beaches.
Oh, God damn it. Let the hippies run wild.
On the
Jesus.
beaches. What the fuck? So we're going to keep it limited. But think about this, dude. Ready? This is not... Medical experts have been singing for years the benefits of marijuana therapy in certain cases.
Yeah.
For a press conference that I heard today, maybe it was yesterday, doctor that was out of the University of Rochester said that pain isn't the issue. We have lots and lots of things that help with pain very efficiently. It's called heroin in a pill.
Yeah.
However, nausea and fatigue, they've got nothing for. Nothing for. They've got nothing for. They've got nothing for.
Does pot help nausea and fatigue?
Yes. Those are the two things.
Huh.
That's the biggest thing for cancer patients. That's the biggest thing that pot's for, is that it helps them eat, because the chemo makes you not want to eat.
But
and then you get stoned and you get the munchies and you eat your balls off.
But is that nausea or appetite?
And appetite, nausea. Weed is absolutely an anti-nausea medicine.
Is it? Okay, I didn't know that.
For some people who aren't heavy marijuana users, if they drink and smoke marijuana, they risk putting themselves in a dangerous situation because the marijuana stops you from wanting to throw up. And as we all know, if you imbibe too much alcohol, your body does what?
Gets drunk and fucks. Ding.
It expels the poison. And if you got an anti-nausea medicine on top of that that's not expelling the poison, you might just go to sleep and wake up the next morning drunk as fuck.
Ding.
Ding.
So anyway.
So you got 20 hospitals, right? So he's probably going to have one in Rochester, one in Syracuse, one in Albany, one in New York, five in New York City.
Handpicked by him.
By him.
I'd like to read that myself from a couple of sources, just because I want to know how much money is in this for him to hand pick.
The reason that I was told that I've been fed. Let me correct the way that
I'm not saying I don't believe that
I've been fed.
Yeah.
Was that he wants to keep control on not a bunch of hippies running around.
AKA, go put a little money in my hand. I'll pick your hospital. Yeah. Whatever. You know, nobody does nothing for nothing.
But it's still not going to last, because even if he does win the next election, okay, she got 20 hospitals in a state with the densest population.
No shit. Bing.
Every hospital in the state is going to be friggin' begging.
Population of New York State. I'm just kidding. You know I love you.
Begging.
Hell yeah.
Every hospital will be begging.
You think you?
And then doctors are going to be like, private practice doctors are going to be begging.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I prescribe this for my my old patients who can't sleep, my headache patients, my backache patients that has all been proven to solve muscle tension and migraines and definitely put your ass to sleep if you sleepy. If you were like the slightest bit sleepy, marijuana going to help you go the rest of the way.
And all those hippies from that 99% movement, they'll all start begging then too.
Well, that's what happens is then patients beg doctors and doctors give in. And then all hell breaks loose with the medical marijuana thing.
See, but you're missing a crucial step there is that doctors don't actually give in. They actually get paid fun bonuses from the medical marijuana companies to prescribe that shit. It's not really giving in. It's more like just selling yourself, and which
they're already doing.
I don't have a problem with this.
They already do that.
I don't have a problem with that in this situation because it's only going to lead to legalization, which is a good thing. It's just an economically sound decision.
Prohibition just doesn't make any sense.
You make criminals out of otherwise law-abiding citizens.
Prohibition does not make sense. And it's an encroachment on your freaking rights as a human being. What are the words? Inalienable human rights? Well, guess what? To cultivate my land is one of them.
Yes.
What I grow is my business.
Sometimes you make a decision to forego what the man's law says and just go by man's law.
Yeah, which is what most people do anyways when it comes to drugs.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
So honestly,
sensitive. This is not a subject we talk about a lot on AirWreck.
This is another situation where it's like DWI law. Can't we just sit down and have a responsible conversation and just have a human understanding about like what real life is?
Because people are going to do it anyway.
Right. So are they criminals because they're going to do something people do? Or is that just absolutely asinine? And I think that's absolutely asinine. Cory?
So my prediction within 5 years, medical marijuana expands to the point of California here in New York.
I think that's pretty reasonable. That might be the most reasonable estimation I've ever heard you make, ever.
I wouldn't even be surprised if on a federal level it came up for a review and prohibition got struck down within that time frame.
Federal level would be a great name for a band.
Are there orcs throwing rocks at your door?
It's the wind, man. It's cold outside. It's cold as shit.
Frozen.
You know where else it's cold as shit?
Where else is it cold as shit?
In the Antarctic.
Oh, that's where all this shit came from.
That's the Arctic.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. In the Antarctic right now, there is a huge clusterfuck of ships just stuck in ice.
Whoops.
So
Stop fucking with the penguin. What's the matter with you?
This has been going on 9 days after Christmas. The Russian science ship, the academic.
All right.
Shikalsky is the name of the ship. The academic Shikalsky became stuck in ice. It was
Tell Shikalsky the news. What?
Okay. It was a ship filled with scientists, journalists, and tourists. And they were there. They were just taking salination samples and temperature. They were doing science in the Antarctic.
Science.
And they got stuck in the ice.
Whoops.
And this is a ship made for some ice, but this ice is
ice.
Particularly icy ice. Yeah, this is an ocean worth of ice. So a Chinese ship, the Snow Dragon, which is a icebreaker.
I was really waiting for some Can't Drive Straight.
I missed it. Damn it. No, it's the Snow Dragon. That would have been a good place for a joke.
But that's a great name for a boat, too. The Snow Dragon.
Yeah. It's something else in China. I mean, that's what it means.
Yeah.
but I can't read Chinese, so I don't know what it's actually called.
Gotcha.
The Snow Dragon is an icebreaker that the Chinese sent to help the Russian science ship get out.
Hey, while you guys are over there, why don't you break them out a little bit?
They made it as close as 12 miles.
To the ice?
Yeah.
To the science ship?
To the science ship before they, too, became stuck in the ice. So, the Australians sent their ice-breaking ship, the Aurora Australis, who got within another 12 miles of the Chinese ship and was like, "Yo,
we're not getting stuck.
We got a helicopter."
I was like, "Are we gonna have to send air support?"
Actually, the Chinese ship had the helicopter. So here's what they did: the Australians were like, "Yeah, we're not going.
We're gonna get stuck too, dude. No,
look at you. You're all both stuck. This is madness." So the Chinese ship sent a helicopter. Now for like 20 days. No, it was like 15 days. I actually have it in front of me, but I don't feel like reading the whole article. So piss. Ding.
I don't know.
For several days, the scientists, tourists, and journalists were stuck on the one ship, the first ship, the Russian ship. And then the Chinese ship got close, but not quite there. So the Australian ship gets there. The Chinese ship flies helicopter to get the passengers off. It takes they do it in groups of 7 or 8, each journey taking about 45 minutes to get the people off of the Russian science ship onto the Chinese icebreaker.
They just got off and walked across the ice. Apparently, it's very thick.
Then they fly these people from the Chinese icebreaker
to the Australian?
No, the Australian ship doesn't have a place to land. So they have to fly them to a hunk of ice where a smaller boat from the Australian boat
will send the dinghy.
Isn't this crazy? So
you land on the ice block, we'll send the dinghy.
They drop the people off on some more ice, and they send a little dinghy in to get the people onto the Australian ship.
Hey,
so the Australian ship,
about my little dinghy.
The Australian ship now has all the passengers of the of the Shotsky, the Russian ship,
the ship that is stuck, and Shotsky.
But yeah, right. But now there's all the people. Now there's the whole crew of the people on the Chinese ship who are also stuck in ice. So we have. This is like
this is much better because
there's somebody is going to write a joke about this because you have a Russian ship stuck in ice, a Chinese ship stuck in ice, an Australian ship just outside of the ice, and now the United States Coast Guard ship, the Polar Star, is making its way slowly to assist in freeing the Chinese ship, the Chinese and the Russian ships.
The Polar Star.
The Polar Star is an icebreaker. It's capable of a max speed of 18 knots and can break through 6 feet of ice at 3 knots.
Whose is that?
And it has 100 miles to go.
Whose is that?
The U.S. Coast Guard.
Yeah, okay. So, basically, like usual, they needed our toys to get the job done. Gotcha.
The U.S.
All of the Americans to tow your ass out, huh, boys?
The U.S. had something particularly catty to say.
Something like I just said?
This is a quote from Paul Zakutnev.
Well, I guess we'll go help those little slant eyes out.
It's not quite that racist. To just get everybody centered on what's going on here, a Russian ship is stuck, and then a Chinese ship is stuck, and then an Australian ship shows up to help and isn't enough, and the Australian ship calls the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard
gonna have to call the Americans, boys.
Their Pacific Area Commander, Paul Zakutnev, says the U.S. Coast Guard stands ready to respond to Australia's request. Kind of catty.
Basically, what he says is, "Don't worry, we'll handle it.
We'll help you, Russia. We'll help you, China, but only because Australia asked us to.
Because they're our friends. We like them. They're good looking. They're good looking. They're charming people.
Very catty thing to say.
Yeah.
I thought, but maybe it was quoted out of context. I don't know.
maybe it should be that we're the only ones capable of solving this problem, so we will have to solve the fucking problem because that's what.
Oh, I don't agree that we're the only ones capable of solving that.
Clearly, the other superpowers in the world failed.
No, they didn't. Listen.
Russia, China, Australia all failed.
The ice is bound to melt eventually. It didn't fail.
We're the only
just
ones
temporarily
left,
hindered.
brother.
The irony of this story is that one of the aims of the expedition was to track how quickly the Antarctic sea ice was supposedly disappearing.
All right, well, we'll have plenty of time to watch, won't we?
And a lot of people are caught up in this story with this in their heads. They're saying, well, if there's global warming, how could there be more ice? And my first thought was, fucking winter, you idiots.
Do you have any idea?
But then I was like, wait, this is the Antarctic. It's actually summer. So,
do you have any idea how much ice we're talking about?
I do, yes. No, I mean, I don't actually have an actual idea. I know it's a lot.
Fluid idea of what kind. This isn't the hockey pond behind your house, folks. This is feet deep ice.
Ice. On miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of ocean.
For long periods of time. And it is super duper frozen ice. Because the top layers have been melting and refreezing and melting and refreezing.
Yeah, it's super condensed is what it is.
All season long. Because you said, it's summer.
Yeah.
So during the day, the top layers of snow and ice melts just a little bit. And then at night, when the sun goes down, it doesn't actually go all the way down. When it goes to its lowest level, the temperature plunges.
The actual scientist who explained this explained it as it's a result of global warming in that, well, it's not. Nobody ever says that.
It's not a result of global warming. It just so happens to still be.
Right. It just happens to coincide with warming. It has to do with the current and a perpetuating thing that happens when the current gets just a little bit off. Everything starts flowing a little further north and east down there at the South Pole, and that's how this ice got to be so dense where it is. It's just a result of this weird ass heavy weather that we're let's face it, we're dealing with a weather shift.
Yeah,
one way or the other.
Yeah,
that's actually happening.
Whether you want to argue it's global warming,
call it global warming, call it what you want, call it man-made, call it nature, whatever. It's happening. Like, we can't. Nobody can say it's not happening.
Clearly, it's happening.
Nobody I care to listen to or talk to would say that.
Real quick, since we're talking about it, what's your opinion
about
global warming?
It's cold out now, man. I don't know where this global warming's at. It's like
it's an old Drew Carey bit.
How can
I'm
it
standing
be
outside of my front porch with an aerosol can? Where's the global war?
Right. Yeah, I don't see it. It's cold out. It's cold as fuck.
Well, you're a smart guy and understand how climate works.
Yeah.
So,
obviously, I believe that global warming is.
What are your beliefs? Because there's different levels to this. I mean, there's different.
I think
it's a complicated thing.
It's certainly known that we are still in an Earth ice age, but at the very tail end. And who's to say that the very tail end of an ice age might not naturally accelerate as it perpetuates itself? But you can't deny that the Industrial Revolution is a real thing. It happened.
It just so happened that about 150 years ago,
yeah,
the Industrial Revolution happened, and it just so happened that about the last 150 years, the Earth's getting fat, hotter, quicker.
A bunch of monkeys started burning shit,
and the Earth started to get warm.
Yeah. In mass scale. I mean, you got to understand the mass scale here. It's irresponsible to think that we didn't have anything to do with this.
I think we're perfectly and identical beliefs here. It was going to warm anyways, but boy, did we give it a kick in the nuts.
Right in the nuts. and hopefully we'll be okay.
Yeah.
The doomsday scientists say it's not likely, but you know what? They also said Y2K was a thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying. We're smart monkeys. We'll figure something out.
We'll do our best.
Hopefully, we'll figure it out in time to implement it. And
we're pretty quick adapters. And with the recent discoveries in epigenetics, there might even be proof that we're adaptable within a generation. So I'm pretty confident that we will figure it out.
I fucking buzzword. You buzzworded me.
What?
Epigenetics.
Epigenetics.
I know. It's like synergy. It is. It's actually like synergy. I mean, I know there's a real science behind it, but it's actually like, it's just, I hear it and I'm like, oh, it's like when people say quantum.
Okay, well, I'm not. I did not say quantum.
I know you didn't. I know. I'm sorry.
When I go, oh! They keep trying to explain it to me, and I keep going, oh!
So even though there's global warming, China, Russia, Australia, and the U.S. are both struggling to get a Russian and a Chinese ship out of some goddamn ice in the southern hemisphere, where it's summer.
So a Russian and a Chinese ship walked into an ice bar, and the Americans said, get the fuck out.
Ding. In Utah.
Utah.
Yes, in Utah.
Utah.
In Utah.
There's very little Utah in Utah.
Apparently. This is your story.
Not.
Well, I don't mean it's your story. Like, it's not the story of Cory yet.
I just, I mentioned it as I was going to pee, that this might be something we wanted to touch on. Congressman in the Utah is
state congressman or a federal congressman?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't have the news story.
Okay. That's fine.
I would believe it's a federal congressman.
Okay. I think you're right. He's a Republican?
Yes.
Yeah.
But for the state, on a state level, is pushing to have gay marriage continue to be illegal or be turned illegal. I believe it's continued to be illegal.
Okay.
On the state level. I don't know. I don't know the facts. It's either...
It is on the state level. Whatever it is, it's on the state level.
It's either continue to be illegal or to become illegal.
I think it's continue to be.
I would imagine.
I think that...
that would be the logical...
I think that Utah made steps to make it legal.
Okay.
And then I think
I'm pretty sure that
this dude's like, whoa, because there were people about to get married that had to be stopped before they could commit their hideous sin against heterosexual marriage.
God damn. All these gays getting married makes me want to be so gay.
I just don't understand why anybody has a problem with this.
Well, we don't have. We're all right, New Yorker guy. All right, New York.
Luckily,
guy.
in our state, it's perfectly legal to marry who you want now.
And
hooray!
And acceptable for the most part. I mean, the majority of the population is going to be pretty okay. The majority,
I think,
pretty okay with that situation.
Certainly more than they would have been at a time. Yeah,
we're a very blue state versus a Utah, whose state is mostly Mormon.
Oh my God! Could you imagine if a bunch of gay Mormons got together and got married? There'd be no stopping them. They just marry each other all over the place. The Octodad.
Do you know how badly the Mormons are wishing you were in hell right now for saying that they would have polygamous gay Mormon sex with each other?
I cannot express to you.
I'm pretty sure what you said was a factual thing. I'm pretty
sure
quite how
much I don't care what a Mormon thinks of me. Not because of their Mormonism.
Right now, just dying.
Mormons, all respect to you and your right to believe what you want to believe.
And your 11 children.
You are certainly entitled to believe anything you want, and I'm not against polygamy is not something I think that if you want to marry... You know what? The fact that Mormons could be against marriage equality is a little ironic. I see how I didn't swear there. It's a little ironic.
It's frigid. It's frigidly ironic. I want to point out that the mass amount of Mormons, which is the Church of Latter-day Saints, do not believe or practice in polygamy.
Yeah, but some of them do.
It's the old school sect of Mormonism that practices polygamy.
Yeah, but some of them are alive right now, wishing that they could
there's
get married.
lots and lots and lots.
Shouldn't they also have the right to marry who they want?
Absolutely. I'm not against polygamy. I am against them having 11 children.
I'm against them making their own decisions.
Let's
No, wait. I'm for them making their own decisions. I'm sorry. I said that
Really?
It was completely wrong.
Really, Mussolini?
No, I am completely for them making their own decisions. I don't.
The people aren't capable of making their own decisions. They need a strong, mindful leader to tell them what's right.
I cannot get on board with legislation that would dictate how many children you can or can't have.
I didn't say legislation. I just said, can we have a conversation?
Oh, sure.
About overpopulation and replacement values.
So
the population and your religion made it. It did. It made it, guys. We're good. It's just reel it back.
It's all about genetic. It's just. We are debating. Within a debate, within a debate, within a debate.
Yeah, well, that'll happen. It's our show. We can talk about whatever we want.
No, I know. I understand that. But I've gone as far down this rabbit hole as I care to go without debating something we've already said.
Somewhere in here, we've already had this argument.
Mormons are... Their goal is to procreate to their means. Not to poverty.
No, it is in their doctrine the number of children they're supposed to have. Not procreate within their means. There's a set number you're supposed to aim for. In their religious doctrine. It's 11. Sorry.
Whatever. Fine.
To the point of poverty. They'll run themselves into poverty over it.
I don't know a bunch of Mormons that are in poverty. The Mormons that I do know are doing pretty well for themselves. And are responsibly only having 3 children.
Well, because the East Coast Mormons and the Utah Mormons are not exactly the same.
These are West Coast Mormons.
Even that. On the full West Coast. And the Utah Mormons are not
You seem to know a lot about Mormons.
I sure do. I'm related to them.
Me too.
Yeah.
In Utah, gay marriage is under fire.
Okay. That's all I have to say about that.
Oh.
Okay. They're allowed to be. It's not a popular opinion. It's not. I don't think it's particularly groovy, but I live in New York State, so I don't have to worry about it. They're allowed on a state level to decide what their local laws are, and if they don't want gay marriage to be legalized, as much as I don't agree with that, it's not.
The beauty of having many states.
Yes, the United States of America, independent republic states.
There's a shoe for every foot in this state, or in this country. I'm sorry, and if
one could make the argument that, well, then Alabama could still have slavery.
We had a big ass war about that. And
not the same argument as to whether it's somebody's right to be married.
Nobody gets
or
hurt.
Somebody's right to be property.
You cannot prove that anybody's being hurt by gay marriage. Who's that hurting? Who is that causing harm to?
I use the term inalienable human right. Marriage, a legal, recognized marriage, is not one of those. Not being somebody's property is.
Yeah, right.
I mean, a legal, recognized marriage is all based on the country that you live in and the legal structure that you live in. There's many countries that don't have legalized marriage. It's just a religious ceremony. It's not a right. Sorry. Is the fact that there's a law against it retarded? Yes. Because I shouldn't even care what you're doing, let alone be able to tell you whether to do it or not. Move. If Utah goes that way, they're allowed to go that way. And if you don't like it,
marriage,
you have the right to move.
I want to disagree with you briefly.
I knew you were going to.
Marriage is absolutely a right.
You have the absolute right to be married.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean right there. That's it.
Absolute right to be married.
That's what I mean.
Said, and I've said it specifically over and over again.
Yeah.
Was a recognized legal marriage.
yes, you have a right to be married. However, marriage definitions fall under a state's doctrine. And while that sucks for our gay brothers and sisters in Utah. And a lot of other states, there are a lot of other states that you can go to, and it's not that hard to move in this country. I mean, I know it's hard to move. I understand that it's hard to move, but you can. If the one thing keeping you from being happy is that you can't get married in your state, well, guess what? You can still get married in another state and go back to your state, and you're married on a federal level. You have all the federal benefits. You don't have any of the state benefits, and maybe your state sucks that way. But maybe some people would like to have the ability to live in that you have a right. You have a right to live in a state that you choose to live in.
Yeah.
It's a choice you can make.
As far as your plan there, I don't know how the tax issue works. And that's a lot of this, is how the taxes work.
But you get all the federal benefits, none of the state benefits.
But if you get married in another...
You still get your federal benefits.
But you have to file taxes where you live. I'm not sure how that works.
But your federal... So, let's say...
and you have to have a residency to file taxes.
Let's say... what's a non... Mississippi's probably a pretty safe bet on being a not gay married state, right?
I would imagine.
Let's say gay Mike from Mississippi wants to marry gay Paul from Mississippi, and they both live and work in Mississippi, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they can't get married there because it's a no gay married state. So... they come to New York on vacation and get married in New York. They have a New York marriage license.
Mm-hmm.
This guarantees their federal right to be married. So, when it comes to be tax time, they file a joint married federal tax return and an independent, separate state tax return in the state of Mississippi, where they live and reside and have a New York marriage license. That's how that works on the taxes. They pay their state taxes as non-married single people. They pay their federal taxes as married people.
Okay. I'm gonna have to take your word for it.
I am correct.
Okay. Like I said, I will just take your word for it. That's the only reason I even brought that up, is that states
do have the right.
Everybody kind of bent out of shape on this guy, and not my buddy. I mean, I don't want to have dinner with the fucking guy.
Nope.
But people do. I mean, as much as you have the right to put your penis wherever you like to put your penis, he has the right to not fucking appreciate that. I don't. And as an elected legislator.
Yeah, guess what, Utah?
Yeah.
If you don't like it, fix
Vote
it.
him out.
Yeah, it's easy. It's that easy. Oh, you might have to wait a couple of years, and that sucks because, not for nothing, people die and they miss their opportunity to get married, and that sucks. That's a sad story. But well,
the system is in place so that you can't just throw somebody out because they made a decision.
You can change it if you want to change it, Utah, and sooner or later they will. The thing about conservatives is they're stuck in the past, and therefore they will always be progressed out. It's just the way things work. I think that's all I got on that one.
That's all you got? I mean, do you have any more news?
We did a plane crash, right? There was a plane crash. Yeah. We did the medical marijuana thing. There was Arctic ships. Oh my God, we forgot the thing about the car manufacturers choosing Android.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this one, or do you want to save it for next week?
Yeah, let's do it. This is pertinent information, I guess. We talk about this shit on a fairly regular basis. Android.
Made by Google.
The thing that runs your phone.
Unless you have an iPhone, because you're still on the dick.
And every other tablet.
Do I have to put for dick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, really?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with that.
It really is contextual. It's contextual. And many of the things are in these rules are contextual. There's a big gray area for a lot of this stuff.
So because I said on the dick?
Bingo. Huh. You were referring to a sex organ.
You're still buying cell phone service from a dick?
If you were talking about a man named Dick.
Can't you call somebody a dick? I think you can. I think you can call somebody a dick.
Somebody a dick.
Somebody on Ally McBeal called somebody a dick.
But you can't be on a dick.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
All right, I understand. If you're still buying your cell phone service from a dick.
I'm pretty sure you can say piss, but you cannot say is piss on, or piss over, or piss in her mouth, or...
We're becoming distracted.
Yeah, we certainly are.
From a good story.
Yeah. Google kicked off the CES convention 2014 by announcing that Audi, GM, Honda, Hyundai, and the microchip manufacturer NVIDIA are creating a partnership aimed at bringing you Android in your car.
I like where this story's going.
Called the Open Automotive Alliance, the OAA.
Ooh, I don't like an acronym. Ooh-ah.
Ooh-ah.
Ooh-ah. You call my mother a ooh-ah?
Ooh-ah. Ooh-ah. Promises that automotive infotainment systems, direct quote.
Yeah. I've heard that before about the touchscreens that are coming in cars, which are terrifically distracting.
Terrifically. May run on the open source operating system as soon as 2014.
Isn't that great? You'll be able to check your email in your car while you're driving.
The 2014s on the Ford lot right now do not have Android.
No.
We're running their own software. Telling you that right now.
Yeah.
And it's
nobody's running Android right now.
It's functional.
The touchscreens in the Fords?
In the Fords.
Yeah.
It's functional.
It's functional,
it's
yeah.
Functional.
And
it doesn't have the features that an Android capabilities have.
Kind of a good thing, because currently you still have to drive your car while you're driving your car. So.
Well, Google's working on solving that problem, too.
And that's why they want to get their Android system into those cars.
And that's why they bought Boston Dynamics.
Guess what that Android system will do while it's in your car already? It'll see what drivers are doing while they should be driving their car.
Yeah, that's... And the NSA is going to be able to just look at you while you're driving.
Forget the NSA. They can already do that. For Google, how this works out is that they can collect a bunch of data about how people are actually using their cars now that the technology is there for them to use, which would be the arguable point. They could already do this with their phones and it was illegal. Well, we put it in the cars, and wouldn't it be...
Oh, now you've signed a willingness contract.
Wouldn't it be much more sensible to just have the cars drive themselves, U.S. legislator? This is what Google will say based on this evidence that they'll present about how people are using their tech devices while they're driving, because your Android phone will certainly link to your Android car, I'm certain.
I'm going to imagine that what you're going to have is a lot of voice operation.
So your car's going to know...
Cars are pretty good at this voice recognition software.
They are. And Google's very good at it these days, too.
You throw Android and Google in there, I bet you got all the functions of your Android, mostly voice command, on that larger screen.
This is a big part of...
your car's going to replace your phone in the driving
yeah. Oh, yeah.
situation.
Yeah. And hands down, I mean, it mostly
your phone
already...
will go in the glove box.
Potentially, that has already happened. With my aftermarket stereo in my car, you basically can leave my phone in my pocket and do everything through the stereo, but you're still interfacing with a device. Even with voice commands, you're still interfacing with a device instead of driving your car, and that's what I'm saying is this is part of Google's ploy to get automated cars, which I'm not against.
I'm not necessarily against either. No.
But I mean, there it is. That's what this is, hands down, right? Would you agree with me there that?
Oh yeah, this is step one.
This is definitely this is like step 2 or 3, but it's definitely it's a big part of the early stages.
Yeah, this is the
first chess move. They've got the board set up. They're already making the car, And,
yeah, the car's made.
Yeah,
they got a design. They've got prototypes in operation.
Yeah,
300,000 miles without a fender bender.
Yeah. Doing better than humans, yeah.
And constant 300,000 miles, too. It's never stopped. It just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, fuels and goes.
They have people using them for their commute in California. We did an article about it. We actually stole an article from PopSci and did it on our show.
They've got them driving across the country empty.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're being followed or whatever.
Yeah.
They got them just driving empty on pre-programmed waypoint.
Do they have them driving empty?
Yeah, it's part of their beta testing.
That's interesting.
To the point where the car can operate on its fucking own.
Boy, they must be surrounded by chase vehicles to be operating empty on highways.
I'm sure. I don't know how that is taken.
Can you imagine what their insurance policy is like on that car?
I don't think that they're too worried about insurance.
I understand they're like massively wealthy, but could you imagine if like Geico set that shit down on your table and was like, "This is what you owe for this month"?
Because I mean, clearly, if the next progression is automated driving, the step after that is literally valeted automated driving.
Oh, that's why Google also bought that.
You drop you off at work and go home, and then come back and pick you up at 5.
What's that car rent? GoGo Indy? No, that's not right. There's a car website where you can like call and get a car.
Shit.
Yeah,
it's an app too on your phone.
Yeah,
Uber.
Sure. I'm not sure if that's right, but sure, it's Uber. I'm going with it. Google bought them.
It's a good idea.
And another one just like them.
That service was a great idea.
Heck yes. I was thinking about this earlier today. Why don't, like, if pizza places can afford to pay drivers to deliver their product, why can't bars pay drivers to deliver their customer?
Volume of customers on schedules.
Man,
pizza's got a half-hour schedule. Make the call, gets made, got to be there. All kind of a cyclical thing. Guys get drunk, want to stay longer.
Dude, if I can get a pizza to anywhere in my delivery radius in 45 minutes, I can get a person on time.
Pizza doesn't throw up in your car. Pizza doesn't get drunk and fight in the parking lot while you're waiting there to give them their ride. The human condition is what's going to stop that from being viable.
Oh man, I just think
you got a good idea there, but I mean, unless you literally
who needs a
set
DWI
shuttle times?
Would it take a getting used to period? Yes, it would take a getting used to period, but wouldn't it save a bunch of people their licenses?
Again, you'd have to have like a shuttle bus and run shuttle times every hour on the hour.
Sure.
You can get on the bus and give the driver directions, and he'll take you.
Yeah, you don't can serve on the bus.
Don't make it.
Serve on the bus too, because you could.
I would think you could.
Limos do it.
But I would think being in the bar scene and trying to break ground on a new idea.
Yeah, you might want to just keep the booze out of the bus.
Let's not do that right now. Let's keep that kind of clean.
Step to that. Yeah, sure. All right.
Let's evolve into that. And by the time we evolve into that, the bus will be driven by Android, and we'll all get drunk anyways.
Right, even the driver.
Exactly.
Android will be tongue and Siri in the driver's seat, and we'll all go out in a blaze of glory.
Yes, sir.
So last week on the show, during our breakdown of the science-y space things that happened in 2013.
Is this our official footnote section?
Yeah,
is that what we're doing?
This is a quick addendum that I'd like to make.
We're doing a footnote section. This is fancy. We're getting professional.
We talked about the Chelyabinsk space object that flew across the sky.
Giant hunk of rock.
Yeah, in Russia, and was videotaped by, well, I guess it was digitally taped by a ton of people, and I wasn't sure how fast it went, and Cory had just fathomed the guess of 20,000 miles, and initially I was like, that's fast. Then I realized space moves fast, and I kind of came around to your 21,000 miles, or your 20,000 miles, but I was intrigued, and I wanted to find out, so I did.
Because I was trying to lowball it, so I didn't sound like an idiot.
So I went to the library, and I dug through the card catalog to find the Dewey Decimal location for the newspaper clipping.
You opened your Android-driven phone and tablet.
I definitely just tapped a button on my phone and said, "How fast was the Chelyabinsk asteroid meteor?" Meteor.
I like space objects.
And it told me. Isn't it great that I didn't have to do all that bullshit? Go to the library and such.
Use that stupid guy Dewey's stupid system.
What a pain.
With his stupid cards and his numbers. And
so after careful research, I determined that Cory's guess of 20,000 miles per hour was not as ridiculous as I had initially thought. In fact, it was not ridiculous enough. The Chelyabinsk meteor was traveling at 41,760 miles per hour, 13 seconds after it entered the Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah, okay.
That's 11.6 miles per second.
And the atmosphere is dense, with a dense collection of gases. Much, much more dense than the space that it came from.
Yeah.
So we got to keep in mind that it slowed the fuck down.
A little. Yeah.
By the time it was measurably in atmospheric area.
I wonder how quickly it slowed down.
I wonder what the drag is.
Anyway, 41,000 miles, it turns out, was how long that was.
Curvature drag on a falling object.
We promised you earlier that we would play at the end of our show
the full news clip
about the Vancouver DWI law. So, without any further ado, we'd like to thank you for joining us on AirWreck Radio. Please check us out, airwreckradio.com. Remember, we're recorded live every Monday around 8 on airwreckradio.com.
Please check us out at rocpodcast.com, iTunes, and Stitcher. We also have the new podcast coming out. Got to check that out too.
A podcast.
The podcast.
All right. Here's your news story. After that, your usual sassafras tea and a good night.
6 years ago, a terrible family tragedy occurred here in rural British Columbia. But over time, it became much more than that. This tragedy set in motion dramatic changes to the laws governing drinking and driving, changes that supporters say have already saved dozens of lives. That tragedy involved a 4-year-old girl. Her name was Alexa Middlear.
Well, it was a beautiful May-long weekend, and my daughter Alexa loved this one particular horse, and she really wanted to show her grandparents that horse. And so I remember saying goodbye to her, and then very shortly after that we heard all kinds of sirens, and at that moment I just knew. I said, it's Alexa. Something's happened to Alexa.
A 56-year-old woman doing nearly twice the speed limit lost control of her car and smashed into the exact spot where Alexa stood, feeding the horse on the side of the road. The woman, who was later convicted and sent to prison, admitted to police she'd had 3 glasses of wine before getting into her car.
When we knew roadside that our daughter was dead, I remember my husband just in the ambulance. We both held each other, and he said, "This will not break us. This will define us. There will be some good in this."
After the accident, Alexa's parents, Michael and Laurel, launched a campaign to try and change the culture around drinking and driving, to deter people from doing it. Their events became a regular feature on local news.
We will honor our daughter, and we will make the necessary changes that, number one...
But they soon realized it would take more than that. They realized they'd have to change the drunk driving laws, which, like in the U.S., set the legal blood alcohol limit at 0.08%. After lobbying the government for nearly a year alongside groups like Mothers Against Drunk Driving, their efforts paid off. In 2010, the provincial government not only stiffened penalties against driving at 0.08, but more importantly, it targeted drivers who fall below that level to 0.05, drivers who are not legally drunk. The rationale? Even a few drinks, as few as 2 for a woman and 3 for a man, can impair your ability to drive. The big change was that if you were now caught driving with a 0.05 blood alcohol level, the police were authorized on the spot to fine you, suspend your driver's license, and immediately impound your car for at least 3 days. They would get you out of the vehicle, and a tow truck would haul it away. In late 2010, police began enforcing the new laws, and police impound lots across British Columbia began filling up. The changes sparked an uproar. Civil libertarians argued it gave the police too much power. Restaurant owners, like Mark Roberts, said the new laws damaged the economy. He says his business dropped between 10 and 20%.
When the change of drinking driving laws came out, we knew that was going to have a strong impact on our business.
What did you think? That customers would suddenly be afraid and that they wouldn't come to your door?
We thought that there was a lot of unknowns about what that meant, how many drinks could people have. There was very little information about how that was going to be enforced, how it was going to impact what people could drink. We were creating non-alcoholic drinks to try to make up for those lost sales. It really was a lot of fear, a lot of unknowns, and some real changes in people's behavior.
And the impact was immediate. During the first year the new laws were in effect, the number of drunk driving deaths in British Columbia plunged. Critics argued that first year was a fluke. But the second year, the number declined again, a 55% reduction in deaths in just 2 years. The message, it seemed, had started getting through to drivers.
So it was quite well publicized, and for deterrence to work, it's as much about knowing and expecting there being a consequence than it actually being likely. People's perception that they were likely to be caught was probably way higher than it actually was.
And that's key.
It is key. It's very important.
Tim Stockwell is an expert on alcohol policy at the University of Victoria. He told us he can't think of a single reform that's had this big an impact this quickly. He and his colleagues recently published a peer-reviewed study of the effectiveness of the new laws.
These laws epitomize perfect sort of deterrence theory in action. And it's very important to understand that you don't need draconian, severe penalties. They have to be severe enough. It's more important that they are certain and that they are swift. So on the spot, losing your car for 3 days, a week, that's severe enough.
The new laws have faced some setbacks. The police had problems with some of their breathalyzers. The government had to amend the laws when the courts ruled that drivers deserved a better appeals process. And last fall, a judge ruled in favor of a driver who appealed his 2012 driving suspension. Critics say that ruling might force a rewriting of the laws, but for now that hasn't happened. The heart of the new laws remain intact.
What about the argument that there have been so many lives saved by these new rules that, yes, it may have taken a hit out of your business, but that to save people's lives, that's an okay price to pay?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to argue that. I'm certainly not going to sit here and say, well, we should allow people to drink whatever, and whatever the consequences are, that's the way it is going to be. I certainly wouldn't advocate that.
Why do you think this has been so effective?
I think because the consequence is firm. I think that people respond when there's a harsher consequence. And I think, too, because it's aligned to a larger goal. Just like secondhand smoke, we have no tolerance for that anymore. Just like when seatbelts came in, there was that fundamental shift. My goal has always been that there will be a fundamental shift that it's not okay to drink and drive. Drinking, fine, absolutely. Drink whatever you like and enjoy and partake, but just don't mix it with driving.
It's late in the afternoon, the sun rising high. There's nothing to do around here, and if there was, well, I wouldn't try. Taking my comforts, taking good care of me, sitting down in my easy chair, taking a sip of my sassafras tea. Now wouldn't you know it, there goes the phone again. It's probably just another wrong number, but someone tried to sell me something I can't even see. Well, I got the solution, how to deal with this insanity. Just sit down in my easy chair and take a big sip of my sassafras tea. Getting near evening, the sun going down. I guess I should shake a leg, climb in my car and roll downtown. Check out the city lights, all decked out in a tux and a tie. But I'm sitting in my easy chair, taking a sip of my sassafras tea. He got the willies and the worries on his mind, and the weight of the world putting pressure on his spine. Well, I got the solution,